Easy Tigers! I hope everyone's fine and dandy. Welcome back to the Paul Cook Show, where we expose hidden history. And we look for clues in the current narrative and try and pick it apart and see what one with this plane that we live on. This simulation of a reality. So, what I'm going to be doing today is showing you the biggest blockwork on this plane. Now, I'm not going to be showing you Lebanon, the pregnant lady, or anything like that. I'm going to be showing you bigger stuff. Absolute, ginormous, gigantea, as they say in Italy. But the Gornaya Sharia megaliths. So, the Gornaya Sharia megaliths, meaning Mount Sharia megaliths, are rock formations forming part of Mount Sharia. So, in southern Siberian Russia, lying to the east of the Altai Mountains. Fringe articles have claimed that these rock formations are gigantic prehistoric man-made blocks or megaliths. It is reported that the largest pieces or blocks of some stone have estimated weights between 3,000 and 4,000 tons, which would make them larger than the megaliths of Baalbek and Lebanon. So for those who don't know, the pregnant lady, it's meant to be one of the largest stones on this plane. But that's only in the narrative. So let's have a look at this place. Like I said, it's Siberia. It doesn't seem like there's nothing around. It seems like it's, well, it is a ginormous mountain range. But again, is this a man-made structure? Like, why is it blockwork? Like, when I've been researching this geology stuff, it is a load of cobblers. Like, what they want you to believe is unbelievable. I'm going to show you some of it towards the end of this video, and it is just... They want all these things to occur. Like the chemical erosion, the pushing up of the tectonic plates, and all this stuff creates blocks, and it's just a load of cobblers. It really is a load of cobblers, especially when you've learnt all this stuff. And I'm just teaching you what I've learnt, and then you can just go and look at stuff yourself in a completely different way. But these are the pictures of this mountain range, but it's made with this megalithic blockwork. And when I get a couple of guys next to it, in a picture I'll show you shortly, that you will say, what's this metal there for? Like, if that's part of that rock, then that must have been a geopolymer for that to be imprinted into it. Now look at this. How is nature doing this? It says that the water gets in between the cracks and rounds off the edges, and it's called chemical weathering. Which, in a sense, makes right with what I'm saying, because if the rain is acidic and these are alkaline-based geopolymers, these will like sort of like melt. So when you see the sandstone structures like I showed you in Nottingham, and what I'm going to show you in Liverpool next week, you can see that these have been melted by rain. I don't mean melted by heat, or should I say dissolved. So let's have a look. Let's have a proper examination of these places. Look at the size of this guy. I'm not going to read all that stuff because it's just a load of cobblers. But I'm just showing you these pictures just to show you the size of these blocks compared to this guy. Now, the only way I can imagine this was done, like, would be in some sort of forming, some hard shuttering would be put up. Because of the weight of these blocks, like I said, these are 3,000 to 4,000 tons. Look at that. Nature, eh? Look at this. Nature is one of the best block layers I've ever met. Not met, sorry. Ever come across. Look at this. Blocks on top of blocks. You've got angles all over the show. Yeah, so they reckon it's tectonic plates that pushed all this up, and the weathering. I tried to find out what sort of material this was, but it's quite hard. I've got a sniff that this might be a bit of granite, but it seems to be more like a limestone sort of stuff. But if you look at this little section here, you're telling me this is not geopolymer. It seems like they started off with this section here, and it was like, right, no, we're going to make it bigger. So they put like an L-shaped block over it, and then that was the size of the profile of the blocks for that level. This is definitely not natural whatsoever. Whatsoever. This is meant to be bedrock. Which I don't see how this is bedrock where it is, but that's not me saying it. This is just what the narrative says. But look at these blocks, man. This is humongous. These are trees in front of this, by the way. Like, these pictures don't really do it justice. You need a measuring stick in there just to show you how big this is. If I was to fit a little guy in there, you'd fit 3 guys in this here. Do you know that? 3 people would fit in there. Right, that's 18 to 20 feet. Look at the size of these blocks. And like I said, this pillaring effect, I call it the pillaring effect because I'm not saying they're putting pillows, it's just because of the effect that's left after. I don't know how they've done this, but when I was looking at the pictures in Egypt, it was clearly done by shuttering. And then what they've done is they cracked them bits off and then they smoothed it off. Here, this top line is not a mark done by a blade, okay? Because for that blade, that mark only goes in a couple of mil, right? So if that blade, and let's just say that cut is 4 inches thick, that means that blade would have had to gone in at least 2 inches to make that length of that cut 4 inches. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's a circular saw. As soon as the saw touches that stone, it leaves a mark. The further you go down, the wider the mark gets. Now, these are other parts that are found in connection with this megalith. Now, you can see some sort of balding or something has gone up here. You can see the imprint of it. And if you sit there and think these balls, like, look at the size of this ball compared. Well, to be honest, I don't know how big this block is that I'm looking at in comparison, really. This could be humongous, or it could just be a little speck. But what you can see is some sort of guttering, some sort of balding went up to hold in the mix. Now look at this, look how flat this is underneath. And look at this. You're telling me this was not cast directly on top of that one? It's unbelievable. This is definitely the biggest blocks I've ever seen in my life. What do you say, eh? What do you say? Let me know what you think about this. And if you know anything about this site, let me know. Because I only come across this the other day and I find this incredible. Look. Natural. This is natural. So it goes to say that Russian popular articles have reported that the scientists have proposed the rock formations to be a result of geological processes associated with the intense weathering of the rock composing Mount Sharia. Both tectonic forces acting on deeply buried bedrock and pressure release that occurs within the near surface bedrock as it is uplifted and eroded commonly form rectangular block-like rock formations that consist of joint rock. Can you see what they're doing here? They're trying to, like, I can't help but, like, what? It's literally saying that that nature's knocking out blocks, pushing them up through the ground, block work. That's what they're saying here. Tectonic forces acting on deeply buried massive bedrock such as granite and pressure release as the bedrock is uncovering by erosion can create sets of joints which are known as orthogonal joint sets that intersect at nearly 90 degrees. Orthogonal joint sets quite often result in the formation of rock formations that are comparable in size and shapes to the blocks shown in pictures of the alleged megaliths. Now, I can't help but deny this. They're clearly trying to, like, hide the fact that this is ancient megalithic, biggest blockwork ever on this plane. Clearly. Well, not ever on this plane, but what we can see so far. It is also quite common for spheroidal weathering, a form of chemical weathering, to occur as groundwater circulates through the orthogonal joint sets in the near surface. So like I said, that this is how they're saying you got the block work done. So nature pops up the block, it gets pushed up by tectonic plates and pressure, and as it's coming through, the rainwater, which has chemicals on it, is eroding the edges. That's what this is saying in layman's terms. The process results in the alteration and disintegration of bedrock adjacent to the joints. The preferential removal of weathered bedrock by erosion often created bedrock blocks, which are often called core stones. That's interesting. These bedrock blocks commonly have rounded corners and are separated from each other by cracks of variable sizes. Such core stones from both hills and mountains, composed of exposed and rectangular blocks of jointed bedrock that are comparable to the rock formations found in Mountain Sharia. These hills and mountains are either known as tors or kopjes. Now that's quite interesting, because when you look at the Tor in the Glastonbury Tor, that is something man-made and completely covered up. I'm just going to quickly show you that on the LiDAR quickly. Now, if you look at this, you can see that this, I used to think this was a pyramid covered up until I got my hands on the LiDAR. Now, you can clearly see that this is some sort of structure that is not natural whatsoever. There's nothing natural about this shape. I don't know what it is, but it seems like, I'd like to know what's underneath all the grass. I want to know if there's blockwork. Because it's the same when we was in Portland. If you take some of the grass up, you see megalithic blockwork that was shaping the coastlines and the terrain in Portland. And I reckon it's exactly the same in the Tor as well. And I reckon it's the same all over the world. Maybe, I'm guessing that these megalithic blockworks were the building foundations of the mountains. Created by a god, I don't know, or a creator. Maybe they're the same thing. But this is what I seem to be discovering at the moment. These mountains, these shorelines, these hills, these tors, it's blockwork. Who made these blocks? Who put this blockwork together? Who sourced the material? And who gave the go-ahead? And who's hiding all that stuff? I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I hope I haven't bored you. I hope I've knocked your socks off. I really do. So we're going to go and look at some more natural blockwork now. So let's have a little Brucey and get straight to it. Right, so what you're going to see now is a megalithic wall. Okay, it's meant to span 500 metres and it goes up, I think, 30 feet or 30 metres. I'll show you in a minute. But it's not just one skin, it's double skinned. So let's have a look what it says. Finestras is an uninhabited place located within the municipality of Vallecamp and Litera, 10 kilometres away from the region of Aragon in Spain. The town has a spectacular natural barrier that borders the Canellas River reservoir and is popularly known as the Chinese Wall of Huesca. So this is meant to be a natural formation. It looks like it could be limestone. But I don't, and if that is limestone, then that's meant to be sedimentary rock. And how that's positioned doesn't look like that could be sedimentary rock. So let's have a look at some areas around. None of this area is on Google Earth, but I will show you what is in this area. And a lot of it is inhabitable. Well, it used to be inhabitable, but they're saying it wasn't, and it isn't. So let's have a look. Let's see what is on this list. And I'm just going to go for a couple of places and show you what's here. So I don't know what this is, this natural barrier. So it was double skin, so it had one wall on one side and then the other side it had another wall. And I don't know if there was anything in the middle, I'm not sure. But around the area you have these cave houses, which is quite interesting. And you also have these in the area, which these are actually catacombs. Now I'll tell you why these look like catacombs, because you actually got places where it looks like you could bury people outside. And I'll show you in a sec. But you see, look here. So this is what I'd expect a catacombs or a graveyard to look like. You know, where you've got multiple spaces for dead bodies. But this sort of stuff here is what I've been finding. Look, forget about the dead bodies, but this rock sort of structure I've been finding in England. And it's just, this here is identical to in Nottingham. But we built over it in Nottingham. And also, look, it's like Nottingham, innit? So I'm going to be going to a place in Kinver, which is just like this as well. So in England, I'm going to be, I can't wait till the end of the month. I've got some serious footage to go and shoot and show you guys. I'm literally going to change the way you look at this world. That's my goal now. But I want to connect these dots. I want to paint a picture and I want to show the world what England used to look like. And that's what I'm going to do. And saying that, actually, I come across this in England. Look at this while I was doing some research. So this is another place I'm going to add to the list. But look at that. It looks like something we was just looking at in Spain, but this is in England. Anyway, I hope I haven't bored you. I hope you're still here, and I hope you've seen something you haven't seen before. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share, because we're discovering stuff over here that's groundbreaking. It is groundbreaking. It's all original. We don't copy no one's ideas over here. We're literally going out and looking for stuff. So, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share and all that jazz. It's been a pleasure me bringing you this stuff, and it's been a pleasure. Like, I love it. I love it. I love this job, going out and exploring. So, with that being said, all that jazz. One love, guys. Ta-da. Ta-da.